Feels like every game in Major League Baseball was either a blowout or a close one-run game. Let's talk about it on MLB Game Night.
When that final out is made, you know it's time for Locked On MLB Game Night. All the post-game reactions to every game across the league, every single night, with insights only the hosts at Locked On can provide. Prepare to experience game day reactions like never before. Only on Locked On MLB Game Night. Your team every day.
Yes, welcome on in to MLB Game Night, where we cover every single game, every single night, as only the Locked On Podcast Network can do it. I'm your host, Lindsey Crosby, host of the Locked On Braves postcast over on Locked On Sports Atlanta. You can follow me on social media at Crosby Baseball. That is Mr. Jeff Carr, host of Locked On Reds, channel manager for Locked On MLB. You can follow him on social media at Jeff F. Carr, Jeff, if you will. And Jeff, a lot of stuff to get to. Couple walk-offs today, setting up some fantastic pitching matchups tomorrow. A lot of home runs hit. But I want to start off with Cardinals and Cubs and just the domination that we saw there. Before we do that, today's episode is brought to you by our friends at Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off your first purchase. Okay, if you used Game Time to go to Wrigley Field, you saw a heck of a matchup. Chicago Cubs took down the Cardinals 11-3. This game was bonkers. I've got our buddy Sam Olber from Locked On Cubs to tell you from his side of it exactly what went right for Chicago today.
A record-setting afternoon on a holiday for the Chicago Cubs. They set a franchise record with 8 home runs in one single game and defeat the Cardinals 11-3. I'm Sam Olber from the Locked On Cubs podcast. 3 home runs from Michael Busch, 2 from Pete Crow Armstrong. Miles Mikolas gave up 6 home runs just on his own, and the Cubs had one of the most memorable July 4ths that they will ever have. Always great to do it, too, against the rival Cardinals. We talked about this on the show earlier in the week. Can the Cubs find a way to start stacking wins? Can the Cubs get hot? And they're doing that right now on this homestand, winning the first 4-0 on the homestand, and trying to continue it Saturday and Sunday. Join me on Saturday, 1:15 Central Time, with Cubs left-hander Justin Steele to see if we could keep this winning streak going. Stay hot, Cubbies.
Jeff, 8 home runs in a single game?
That's some fireworks right there. Wow. I mean, Miles Mikolas, dude, like, what are we doing?
Yeah, and JD Haffern from Locked On Cardinals, spoiler alert for going ahead in a minute. In just a minute, we're going to have him in here, and he has some thoughts on that as well. The thing that kind of goes under the radar in this game to me, Colin Rea, 6 2/3. The only run he gives up, the only hit he gives up is a solo shot, 2 walks, 4 strikeouts. Like, for a Cubs team that has lost some pitching and like has been counting on that offense to carry them, I don't think anybody thought Colin Rea was going to do. Like, if there's anybody right now you think who has a first name that starts with C that will do that, you're like, okay, Horton's going to come out in there and dominate. No, Colin Rea holds a good Cardinals team to 1 hit and 1 run and out away from 7 innings.
And that's important, too, because it feels like in a game where your team is just teeing off on everything coming plateward, it's easy for you to kind of get sucked into that as a pitcher. And then all of a sudden, it's a slugfest. He avoided that, and that was so key. He's a guy for a couple of years now. He's looked really good and kind of exceeded expectations. I kind of wonder if this parlays into a multi-year contract for him later on.
I'm sure he would love that. Speaking of a multi-year contract, the team might want back. Miles Mikolas, like we said, 8 earned runs, 6 home runs allowed. Here's our buddy JD Haffern from Locked On Cardinals and a host of Locked On MLB Game Night with his frustrations about what Miles did today.
Is it over yet? Holy crap. Record-setting day for the Cardinals at Wrigley, but for all the wrong reasons. Hey, it's JD from Locked On Cardinals. Happy 4th of July to everyone. Plenty of fireworks in Chicago. Problem was they were all in Cubby blue as the Cubs set a franchise record by hitting 8. You heard me right. 8 home runs in one game to crush the Redbirds 11-3. Miles Mikolas got tattooed for 6 of those dingers. and allowed 8 runs on 10 hits in 6 innings. John King gave up the other 2. The 8 home runs, also a franchise record of home runs given up in a game for the Cardinals. Way to go, boys. They did finally score after getting shut out 3 games in a row, but it got so bad that the Cubs actually put in a position player in the 9th inning to close out the game because they didn't want to waste a real pitcher against the Cardinals. Needless to say, this team is in a really bad spot. They've lost 4 in a row. They can't hit. The starting pitching is crumbling, and they still got 2 to go in Chicago, who have now beaten them 3 times in a row and outscored them 22-3 in those games. For the latest updates and info, be sure to keep it Locked On Cardinals.
Spoiler alert, that's not the last time you'll hear about a position player pitching today in this show. Only 3 hits for St. Louis. The 1 run comes off a Brandon Donovan solo shot. But the most concerning thing to me, I think, Mikolas now, his last 7 starts, 0-4 with a 7.75 ERA and 12 home runs in 7 starts. Granted, 6 of those were today.
It's been a long time trending downward for him as well. Like all of 2024 was rough for him. He had negative WAR, at least according to Baseball Reference, after 32 starts and a 5.5 ERA. Like this isn't looking so good for him. And kind of like JD mentioned, it didn't seem like anything went right for them. There was no part of the game that the Cardinals even really got into this. I mean, it's just an all around bad day for the Cardinals.
They've got to hope tomorrow's better. Matthew Liberatore takes the mound for them versus Drew Pomeranz. Okay, speaking of blowouts, even a bigger blowout, Astros at Dodgers. Houston obliterates LA 18-1. We've got Brett, H-Town Wheelhouse from Locked On Astros with his thoughts on the victory here.
July 4th was filled with family, with fun, with glizzies, and a lot of home runs. Hello, I'm H-Town Wheelhouse here with Locked On Astros. The Astros hand the biggest defeat to the Dodgers in LA Dodger Stadium history. That's right, Jose Altuve, 2 home runs, 3 hits for everybody. You get a hit, you get a hit. Caratini, you get a grand slam. Christian Walker, you get a home run. Everybody gets a hit. That's right, Lance McCullers Jr. on the mound looked phenomenal. He even soccer balled a line drive off his heel into the glove of the infielder to get it out. Are you kidding me? What a game. The Astros continue to make statements to solid National League teams. Now, it's not over. They still got to win tomorrow or Game 3 to get a series win. A big matchup tomorrow. Shohei Ohtani, Framber Valdez. This is a heavyweight bout. If you are faint at heart, do not watch. But the Astros are on national TV. They really need to go out there and show the country what this Astros team is all about. We're your team every day. Go Stros.
Okay, so it was 16-0 Cubs over the Dodgers on April 12th. So I thought that was the worst one. This is 17 runs. It's their biggest loss since they lost 20-1 at Wrigley in 2001. So
Wow.
Nothing went right for the Dodgers here. Everything went right for Houston. Lance McCullers, 6 innings, 1 run, 4 strikeouts. Jason Alexander gets a 3-run save or a 3-inning save. But the big thing for me, first pitch, Isaac Paredes, first pitch home run. Jose Altuve hits 2. Christian Walker has 1. Ben Casparius got tagged for 6 runs on 9 hits in 3 innings. And then Noah Davis in relief got tagged for 10 runs on 6 hits in 1 1/3. With 3 walks, by the way.
Oh, man, that kind of a line makes you think that Dave Roberts put this guy in here and expected him to get at least 2 innings, if not 3 innings. And he said, all right, you're giving up this many runs. You're at least giving us 4 outs. There's no way I'm pulling you after just 3 outs. So, man, that's crazy. But this is more proof. If anybody needs more proof in baseball that you win 50, you lose 50, and then it's the other 62 that you have some leeway with. This is just one of those 50 losses for the Dodgers. One of those things that can't do anything about.
Yeah. Davis threw 47 pitches to get 4 outs. They're actually the best reliever for the Dodgers today. Miguel Rojas pitched the 9th. 1 hit, 2 walks, but he was the only Dodgers pitcher that didn't allow a run. Got out of the inning in 14 pitches. So there you go. Only 5 strikes. It kind of tells you what everybody's feeling there. Okay, couple more blowouts in baseball I want to get to. Red Sox at Nationals. I believe this was the first game of the day. 11-2 victory by Boston. I don't know who was more, who gave a better vintage performance. I want to get your thoughts on this. Lucas Giolito goes 7 2/3, 4 hits, 1 run, strikes out 7. Trevor Story goes 4 for 5 with a homer, 3 runs, 4 RBI, and steals a base. Like, big day all around for Boston's offense, but I don't know who I'm more impressed with, Lucas Giolito or Trevor Story. I want to say Story because he's been worse recently than Giolito has.
I think I'm inclined to agree with you. Both of these guys have been disappointments ever since coming to Boston. I think if you were to ask a Red Sox fan, they would probably take back both of these deals.
Yeah.
So I think I gotta agree with you on Trevor's Story there, because it seemed like a series ago when the Red Sox faced the Reds, he had a moment where he got right with a home run to dead center field there at Fenway Park. And you're thinking, can he turn this around a little bit? And oh boy, a 4 for 5 day is a key turnaround type of day.
Yep. Flip side for this, Michael Soroka. I love the dude, former Braves pitcher. 4 innings pitched, 9 hits, 7 runs. Struck out 6, but obviously got whacked here. Washington only had 6 hits. All but one of them was a single. And they went 0 for 5 with runners in scoring position. So they kind of did this to themselves. All right, real quick, couple more games to get to here in this first segment. Pirates at Mariners. Seattle gets the shutout win, 6-0. Brian Wu, 3 hits over 6 innings, 8 strikeouts. Cal Raleigh, I don't know what we can keep saying about this dude. He hits 2 more homers. He has 35 now. The wildest stat for me, though, Jeff, from this game, Seattle scored 6 runs on 7 hits. They never got a runner in scoring position. All of the runs came off of homers, but every runner that was on base for a homer was on first. They literally never had an at-bat with a runner in scoring position, and they scored 6 runs. It's obviously not the record, but I wonder what the record is for most runs in a game without ever having a guy in scoring position. It can't be more than 8 or 9.
I wouldn't think so, because, I mean, you're talking about, it's just home run derby at that point. But, yeah, that's a crazy stat right there. Bailey Falter, just not a good day on the mound for him. He's kind of been back and forth this year for the Pirates. I know the Reds have seen him a couple of times and hit him once and kind of got by him one other time. But Pittsburgh, man, they keep kind of going up and down a little bit after having such a hard start to the season. And now it seems like
they swept the Mets.
Falling back. Yeah, right. I mean, they sweep the Mets, and now they're playing like this.
They only had 5 total hits. They go 0 for 7 with runners in scoring position. So there was not a single hit in this game with runners in scoring position. Tomorrow, Mike Burrows versus Luis Castillo. All right, another blowout. Giants at Athletics, 11-2 by the Athletics. And everybody's going to talk about the runs here, right? Nick Kurtz has a 2-run home run. Denzel Clark has a 2-run homer. They have 12 hits. 4 players have multiple RBI. But the pitching was the bigger thing to me. J.P. Sears, 6 scoreless innings against the Giants, 3 hits, 6 strikeouts. Jack Perkins was throwing just absolute filth for 2 innings, 1 run, 1 hit, 3 strikeouts. It was a solo shot with the 1 run. On the flip side, though, Justin Verlander got blasted. 6 earned runs on 7 hits in 3 innings. And Mason Black in bulk behind him, another 5 runs, although only 3 were earned in 4 innings. I thought the Giants had better pitching than this, but you can see how the A's could, if they can get more pitching like that with the offense that they have, they could maybe do something one day.
Yeah, I kind of wonder a little bit about Verlander, because looking at all the underlying stuff, his velo was fine, his spin rate was fine, average exit velocity wasn't too crazy against him. So you look at this and you wonder where it was that everything fell apart for him. Looked like he was just getting BABIP'd a lot, because according to the expected batting average in this game, really looked like the A's should not have gotten as many hits as they had.
Yeah, which that's baseball for you sometimes, right? Logan Webb versus Luis Severino, another fun matchup. It's not as fun as Framber Valdez Ohtani tomorrow, but still a fun matchup. All right, final one real quick. I'm going to get this one kind of quickly before we go to break here. Royals at Diamondbacks. Royals won this 9-3. They needed this win pretty bad. Chris Bubik, 7 innings, 3 runs, 6 strikeouts, only 1 home run allowed. Kind of the big deal there. Kansas City had 3 home runs, 14 hits. Vinny Pasquantino had 2 of those homers, 6 RBI for Vinny P. 5 of those came off the home runs. Bobby Witt Jr., 3 for 5 with 2 runs and an RBI. But the whole downside here, Eduardo Rodriguez, 9 runs on 12 hits in 4 1/3 innings. So many starters just got blasted. And this is an injury-riddled Diamondbacks team, Jeff. Like, Tim Towle was in center field. Jose Herrera was behind the plate. Randall Grichuk and Lourdes Gurriel were your corner outfielders, like in the same lineup together, not DHing. Just, they've been incredibly hurt. They can't seem to make things happen right now.
I mean, if you're struggling through it and you don't have your main guys, it's really tough to overanalyze things on this one. The only thing that I kind of fall back on is, like you said, another tough start for Erod. Really feels like the wheels are just falling off for him this season. He's not the guy that Arizona needs him to be.
Nope. And at this point, they don't have anybody else, really. It kind of feels like either.
Yeah.
So, all right. In just a second, not every game was a blowout. We had a lot of one-run games. We put them all in the same segment. We'll get to that next, right here on MLB Game Night.
The next time your favorite team has a homestand, you got to get to the ballpark using Game Time. Game Time is the best way to get down to the ballpark, whether you are looking ahead a couple of days, couple of weeks, or if you're going down last minute. In fact, that's where they shine. That's where they've got the last minute deals at the lowest prices, guaranteed, just like they love to tell us. But it's true. I love going down to the ballpark, spending some time around the area, and then finding a great deal close to first pitch. Download the Game Time app today, and as a new user, you can use the promo code LOCKEDONMLB and get $20 off your first purchase. Game Time will also give you the view from your seat, so if you're going to a stadium that you're unfamiliar with, you will know exactly what your view will look like. That's the Game Time app. Download it today. Use the promo code LOCKEDONMLB to save $20 off your first purchase. Last minute tickets at the lowest price is guaranteed, plus an extra $20 off. I mean, come on.
All right, so going from blowouts to close games, Jeff, Tigers at Guardians. Tigers hold on to win this one 2-1. We've got both sides of this. I've got Scott Bentley from Locked On Tigers. I'm going to let him take this and talk about just how close this game felt as they were going through it.
That is a 4th of July victory for the Detroit Tigers in Cleveland. I'm Scott Bentley, host of Locked On Tigers. 2-1, the final score against the Guardians. Always good. I know it's like 12 and a half, 13 and a half. The Tigers have the biggest gap, the biggest division lead in all of baseball, which I'm never going to get bored saying, but always good to walk out of Cleveland with a victory. Reese Olson, first outing back from injury, not very efficient, 90 pitches through just 4 1/3 and then got up into, the 5th inning. However, stuff looked really good, and he hasn't pitched in over a month. The story of this game was really Tyler Holton, who has been really struggling this year to find his command, is a reliever that isn't a closer and literally got MVP votes and Cy Young votes a year ago. Comes out, has the best outing of the season, in my opinion. Almost 3 innings of shutout ball with 4 strikeouts. Really important to get him going. He's one of the most important parts of this bullpen. Let's go win a series. If we can win tomorrow on Saturday on national TV, by the way, then you have Scooble Sunday. It's kind of a cheat code. Feeling really good. And we'll talk about it more on Monday.
That is a national broadcast on Fox, by the way. I don't know everybody's going to get that, though, because the same time is Houston at LA also on Fox. So it's a national broadcast in name, but maybe not actually national. So we'll see what the distribution maps look like on those. Those 2 runs for Detroit, by the way, solo homers, Winsell Perez and Zach McKinstry. I feel like Detroit just has half a dozen dudes that can play 5 different positions, and they're good for a solo shot a week that'll get them a random win like this.
And they pitch so well that's all they need. They don't need to score 5, 6, 7 runs a game. They've got the pitching to really dominate these very, very tightly contested games.
Yeah, and Cleveland side, they got a quality start out of Slade Sassoni, and it just wasn't enough with that offense that they're dealing with. Here's our buddy Justin Latta from Locked On Guardians to kind of break down their issues today.
The beat goes on for the Cleveland Guardians, and the June swoon has now extended into July. This is Justin Latta from Locked On Guardians. Guardians dropped their 8th straight, another punchless loss for the offense. They have scored 13 runs in this 8-game losing streak. They're averaging just a little over 1.5 runs a game in this losing streak. But once again, the pitching, great. Slade Ciccone pushed to 6 innings, 105 pitches, the longest he's gone this year. Really good outing. Got hit hard during this one, but really pitched a good game. Matt Festa came in, was good. He was asked to do a lot, was good. Doug Nikhazy came in late as the rest of the bullpen kind of had the night off, really, and was as good as he's looked. I like that role for him a lot. I guess the other good news is Jose Ramirez hit a home run. He had been hitless since Kevin Gausman hit him, so he had a home run. That was good to see. And the Guardians had a chance to score their second run in the second inning. Bo Naylor was sent home to home plate on a single by Angel Martinez, was called out. It was a very close call. Probably could have held him, but I like the call to send Bo Naylor home there and make the outfielder make a perfect throw, and he did. I still think he might have beaten the call. It was a pretty close play. If he had been called safe and Detroit challenged that, and he probably would have been still safe there. But that only would have gotten the Guardians 2 runs, and they would be tied right now, and who knows if they could score in extra innings, because this team, again, has 13 runs in the last 8 games. They'll go into Saturday's game hoping to get things turned around and hope that every day is not the same. Tune in to Locked On Guardians on Monday for more as we get into the draft and we keep talking about prospects.
The only thing that's kind of wild to me is 1 run. They had 9 hits. They had plenty of chances. They just didn't do it. And things don't get easier because tomorrow it's Casey Mize on the mound for Detroit versus Logan Allen. So it's like, hey, you lost game 1. Cool. You got a 1-1 on the mound tomorrow. And if you can beat him, you got Tariq Skubal on Sunday. So to your point, the Tigers just have pitching in abundance, and Cleveland's going to go through it this weekend.
And you can hear it in his voice. It's just like watching the same thing every day, and it's getting annoying.
Yeah, I get it. I totally get it. That's why they're talking about the draft so much. Okay, Yankees at Mets. Subway Series is living up to the billing. I'm amazed we have it in the second segment, honestly, but I wanted to put all the close games together. Mets hung on to win this one 6-5. Fun perspective here. Let's go to the Yankees side. Jay Berman from the Locked On Yankees postcast with his thoughts on the struggles from the jump for the Mets, and yet they still turned around to win this game.
The disaster continues for the Yankees. A 6-5 loss to the Mets on the 4th of July. That's 5 consecutive defeats for the Bombers. Marcus Stroman got the start against his former team. 5 innings, 3 earned, does not figure in the decision. The bullpen for the Yanks was not good, specifically Luke Weaver. He allows the go-ahead 2-run shot to Jeff McNeil. That proved to be the difference. Weaver's now allowed 6 home runs this season, 3 in the last 3 games. Speaking of home runs, the Yankees had 4. Judge, Bellinger, and Jason Dominguez twice. But again, not enough as the bullpen was dreadful. As we said, a 5-game losing skid for the Yanks. They are now behind both the Jays and Rays in the division. The Yanks are now 48-40 overall, 22-23 on the road. Again, Friday afternoon, 4th of July, 6-5, Mets beat the Yanks.
Dominguez and Judge went back-to-back in the first inning. Usually when that happens, you're going to have a pretty good game. Judge has 32 homers, by the way. He's at 32, and we're at July 4th. He's behind Cal Raleigh, obviously, but it's just crazy home run totals this year.
It's interesting, too, seeing Luke Weaver struggle the way that he has. He struggled when he was in a Reds uniform. They had him as a starting pitcher. Kind of felt like the Yankees found something with him, but he's coming off of injury like Jay was talking about, and just doesn't seem like he's found it again. It seems like whatever he lost, it ain't found.
Yeah. So, Mets have to be happy here. They had that big skid. They had shut up by the Pirates and all of that. We talked about that earlier. Tomorrow, really curious to see if the Yankees can rebound. They've got Carlos Rodon up against Frankie Montas. Yes, the offense has been better. Juan Soto's still hot. He had a home run today. Beatty and McNeil also homered. But, Carlos Rodon's one of the better starters. I feel like being a lefty is going to be effective against New York. Against the Mets. I can't say just New York in this series. Against the Mets, we'll see what happens. Speaking of those Rays that Jay mentioned, Rays at Twins. Twins walk this one off. He mentioned Dominguez hitting 2 home runs. Harrison Bader also hit 2 home runs. He has 9 on the season, but he had the walk-off in the 9th. Minnesota did not want to win this game. 8 hits. They were 1 for 7 with runners in scoring position. But 2 homers from your number 9 hitter and another former Reds guy that you will know, I believe in Harrison Bader. that'll absolutely do it for Minnesota. Like, just get 2 home runs, you're kind of good there.
And especially against a guy, I mean, they play well enough against Zach Little, who is really good at limiting the damage.
Is it Little
and getting
or Littell?
Littell
I thought it was Littell. Is it Littell?
It might be Littell. It might be
Either
Littell.
way.
And then Garrett Clevenger is the guy that ends up giving it up for Tampa Bay. But
do you know how he did
honestly,
that?
It's insane.
Yeah. So the Rays are up 3-2, right? He comes in with runners on second and third. He hits a batter to load the bases, and then he hits the next batter to get in the game-tying run and take a blown save. He doesn't allow a hit or a walk, and he gets a blown save because he hit 2 dudes back to back. I just thought it was hilarious. I've never seen that before for a blown save in I think it was 7th inning there is what that was.
It's definitely got to be the tough luck 1-run loss of the group here. I mean, a couple more 1-run losses on the docket or 1-run games on the docket, but that one, that's a tough one to swallow.
Yeah, number 9 hitter taking you deep for the second time in the game. Tomorrow, Taj Bradley for the Rays, TBD for the Twins. More of their pitching stuff they've been going through for a while. More walk-offs here. Rangers at Padres. Padres took it in the 10th, 3-2. The starters were fine. Randy Vasquez for the Padres goes 6 innings, 2 runs, 3 walks, 1 strikeout. Had to double check. I didn't type that wrong when I first put it in the rundown. Kumar Rocker, 5 1/3 for Texas, 2 runs, 4 strikeouts. But this is something where Texas only had 5 hits. Only two were for extra bases. San Diego got a bunch of runners on late. Jake Cronenworth got the walk-off single. Listen to the starting pitching matchup for tomorrow, though. Patrick Corbin versus Steven Kolek. That's going to sell some tickets, Jeff.
Yeah, that's, man, you're talking about a dude that has really struggled here this year in Patrick Corbin. Hopefully he can bounce back. But man.
Yeah, hey, I mean, I'm just glad that he looked good when the season started. Okay, final game of this section here, this kind of walk-off thing. Angels at Blue Jays. They made LA leave the country for Independence Day. Mike Trout should be in the United States on the 4th of July. But Toronto walks it off in 10, 4-3, and it's just the funniest way to do it. Ernie Clement gets a walk-off sack bunt in the 10th. There's a runner on second, and Sam Bachman just fires it over the first baseman's head. Pitcher, relievers, I guess, just don't do a lot of PFPs. They don't do pitcher fielding practice. He fires it over the first baseman's head.
Needs more of it, that's for sure.
Runner scores from second. You hate to see it. It's one of those, you didn't have to lose this way. He was giving you an out, and you threw it away because you were rushing.
All right, 2-hit batsman to blow the save, or your own fielding error to blow the save. Which one are you taking?
It's the sack bunt, the fielding error. That's worse because it lost you the game. It wasn't the blow and save, it was the loss. I'm of the opinion, I've said this on this show before, you need to get charged with an earned run when it's your fielding error that gives up the run. Tomorrow, Jack Kachanowicz versus Max Scherzer. That's going to be another fun one there. All right, when we come back, let's talk about more close games. White Sox, Rockies, Brewers, Marlins, Orioles, Braves, a bunch of one-run games. We'll get to those next right here on MLB Game Night. Welcome back to MLB Game Night. Every single game, every single night, as only Locked On can do it. We've got 4 games. We've got 4 minutes, Jeff. Do you think we can do this?
I think we get it.
All right. I go first. That way I get Braves later and you get Reds later. White Sox at Rockies. Every game has to have a winner, right? White Sox win this one 3-2. And listen, Adrian Hauser, he wanted out of Milwaukee because they want to put him in the pen. Milwaukee says, okay, but you're going to Chicago. He doesn't care. 8 innings, 2 runs, but errors, 0 earned runs in 8 innings with 6 strikeouts. Somebody trade for Adrian Hauser already. At least they won this game. They had 8 hits. Mike Topman had 2. Miguel Vargas, batting cleanup, had 2. Flip side, Anthony Senzatello was not bad for Colorado. 5 2/3, 3 earned runs. My favorite stat from this game, though, they combined to go 2 for 15 with runners in scoring position and stranded 14 on base. There's a reason these two teams are bad teams.
They did. Nobody wanted to win that game. That was the game of who didn't lose.
Exactly. You're up for Brewers Marlins.
All right, Brewers and Marlins. This one was a close one from Milwaukee, but they were able to hang on to that win. Another interesting start for Quinn Priester. He's a guy that the Brewers get from a couple of different places. I mean, he came up with the Pirates, and he's ended up here in Milwaukee, 4 2/3, gave up 7 hits and 5 runs, 4 of them which were earned. Overall, though, when you look at this game, this was a little bit of Miami's hot streak maybe cooling off a bit. Like we saw the Marlins go on a nice little winning streak. You started to wonder, could they claw their way back in? Milwaukee is just better. And then that's going to lead us to this amazing pitching match. We talked about a great pitching matchup earlier with Patrick Corbin. Now we got Chad Patrick and Cal Quantrill on the mound. Everybody hold on to your butts on Saturday.
I'm excited for MLB Network to start cutting in on that game as it happens so we can see what's going on with that pitching matchup. Chad Patrick, I'm sure you're a nice guy. I'm sorry for laughing at you. All right, Orioles at Braves. I kind of wish I hadn't given myself this game, but I do. Orioles hold on for a 3-2 victory. Charlie Morton's first game back in Atlanta since he left in free agency, obviously 2020 through 2024, 5 years there, won a World Series for them, broke his leg in the World Series and finished the inning on a broken leg. 5 1/3, 2 runs, 7 strikeouts. They get homers from Jordan Westburg and Cedric Mullins. Only runs allowed by Spencer Strider were on those 2 home runs. He goes 6 innings with 3 runs and 6 strikeouts. Atlanta gets a 2-run shot from Drake Baldwin. Every run in this game was scored via homer. Atlanta has not scored a run without homering since last Saturday. But
That's a stat.
That's a stat, right? Another fun pitching matchup: Dean Kramer for the Orioles, Aaron Bummer, the reliever in a bullpen game for the Braves. They have not figured out how to replace Spencer Schwellenbach, who went on the IL earlier this week with a broken elbow.
That's intriguing. And
Tell
then
us about your Reds.
I'm happier than you are about your Braves. I know
True,
that because the Reds got the win 9-6. And this one was a crazy one because after the first inning, the Phillies were up 3-0. And as a Reds fan watching the game, you're thinking, man, this is going to be a tough series as is. Really tough way to start this. And the Rally Reds just keep on rolling. They got 10 of their 15 wins in the month of June via comeback. And they keep on coming back. A big time day for the lineup. Not a lot of like home runs. It was just a lot of stringing things together. They did get some walks. Jesus Luzardo was not crisp with his command in this game. And then it seemed like whoever Philly brought in until they got to Robert really just didn't have good command of the strike zone. And the Reds took advantage of it. Very good at bats overall. And the bullpen shut the door as Andrew Abbott didn't have his best stuff. His breaking ball was not crisp. He kind of had a couple of spinners, one of those that Nick Castellanos deposited into the left field seats in the first inning. But the Reds were able to cover everything up and get that win, which is so important in this series because the Reds are headed for 7 games next week against the Marlins and the Rockies. So if they can steal a series in Philadelphia, and I can't believe we're at this point, with Nick Lodolo on the mound, that'll be something really interesting to see. And I say that because I know that Ranger Suarez is on the mound for the Phillies, but the Phillies just don't hit left-handed pitching very well. And see what Nick Lodolo can do with that.
I'm excited to watch that. One of the legitimate better matchups tomorrow to watch pitching-wise. All right, that'll do it for MLB Game Night. Do us a favor if you're listening on audio, 5-star review, Apple, Spotify, YouTube Music. Subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell so you know when we go live every single night to talk about every single game as only the Locked On Podcast Network can do it. For Jeff Carr, I'm Lindsey Crosby. This has been MLB Game Night.